Hey, what's up everyone, Same Time Gaming here. Welcome back for another Division 2 video. Well guys, today I'm not doing any build videos. I will do it later on. But first, I'm actually going to review this weapon, which is sitting on my inventory for like 2 weeks now. I have played a lot with this weapon, but I never actually had a chance to make a review of it because, I was too busy making build videos for you all. So I just couldn't, figure out a time to actually make the review of this build. But yeah, I have it now, and you know what weapon I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Ravenous, the new exotic weapon that came out with Iron Horse Raid in TU10. So this is, of course, came out with Raid. It's a Raid exclusive. To get this weapon, you have to play the Raid. All the bosses have a slight chance of dropping this weapon. It's like 1% or something, or even lower than that. But yeah, I mean, if you get all the keys, all 5 keys, you open the box at the end of the Raid, then you have a higher chance to get this weapon from there. I actually got it from there. So yeah, I mean, I had this, like I said, I had this weapon for 2 weeks, and I've been playing every now and then. I use it on my rifle build because it's a rifle, and I'm going to tell you, I'm in love with this weapon. This is super strong, and in my opinion, this weapon is worthy of at least a secondary, weapon spot or slot in your build. I mean, if you have it, put it on your secondary at least, and try it out, and trust me, soon enough you're going to put that secondary to primary. You're going to make that secondary to primary. Right now I have it on my secondary, but I'm going to show you that the amount of crits I can do. You can see 60% crit chance maxed out, 200, almost 2% critical hit damage with this build. I'm going for the glass cannon and vigilance combo with Fox's Prey, of course, and 3-piece Providence, basic stuff as a rifle build. That's what I'm using to see how much damage it can do. Now I'm using Baker Dozen to compare, and not the classic M1A with talent, because I love using Baker Dozen more time than the classic M1A with talents, because I spam, because if I hit, I hit. If I miss, I don't care, because I don't miss any bullets, I get it back. So that's why I go for that, but it's really good. I mean, you can use classic M1A if you want to, but we're talking about the Ravenous, and can it take the spot of your Baker Dozen or your classic M1A? I would say it can. It is capable of, like, if you take a look at the total base damage, it's not too impressive. Like, even my Socom M1A has more damage than this, right? You can see Socom M1A, not even maxed out, got more damage than this. But what makes the Ravenous so good is it's the talent, Gary, and Freaky. You can see on trigger pull, fire both barrels at once. When fired from right shoulder, hits add offensive primers, and defensive primers when fired from left shoulder. So what happens when you fire from your right side of your shoulder, it will add offensive primers, and when you shoot it from the left shoulder, it will add defensive primers. So I'm going to show you in a moment here. Like right now, I'm going to make this closer. So if I shoot, like, basically everyone aims like this, right? So whenever we aim, we're always on the right shoulder, unless you change the settings, you're like, from the settings menu or whatever. But yeah, it's basically like this. So if I shoot, like right now, you can see it's showing like it's adding red stacks on it. So that's your offensive primers. Now, if I swap my shoulder and shoot, not right now, I want to, yeah, okay. Now, if I shoot now, you can see I'm adding defensive primers, you see? So that's basically the talent. So if I shoot from the right side, it will add offensive primers. If I shoot from the left side, it will add defensive primers. Now let's see what else it can do. So hits from one shoulder will detonate all the opposite shoulder's primer when present. When detonated, each offensive primer deals 100% weapon damage, while each defensive primer grants 4% bonus armor and 10% amplified damage to armor plates for 5 seconds. Primer effectiveness is doubled at 10 stacks. Now you're going to be like, that's a mouthful. Well, it's not, trust me. So basically what it says that if you stack up to 10 times from right side of your shoulder, then you swap to your left shoulder, you will be doing an explosion damage, okay? That will amplify your weapon damage and all that. So what happens, basically, you got to shoot from the right side. You shoot 5 rounds. You see, I get full stacks because I have 2 barrels. So each shot counts like 2 shots, something like that. So you don't have to shoot 10 bullets to stack 10 shots. You only have to shoot 5 bullets to stack 10 shots. It's double. So I shot 5, I got this. Now, if I swap my shoulder and I shoot once, it's going to detonate. You can see it detonates. And that was 10 million. I can actually go 13 million with this build. So I'm going to show you again. So I got 5 shots here, got the stacks, swap the shoulder, and you can see I did 10 million again on the armor. So that's basically from the right side. And what happens from the left side, I'm actually going to kill this and show you. Yeah. Now, what happens when I shoot it from the left side? So when I shoot from the left side, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I swap my shoulder and shoot, you see I got bonus armor. Yeah. So that's what happens when you shoot from the left side and then swap to the right, you get bonus armor. And when you shoot from the right with 5 shots and you swap to the left, you explode. You explode the target. So that explosion damage is a lot. You can see I'm hitting for like 10 million, 11 million, something like that. I actually do hit 13 millions with this build. But yeah, I mean, that explosion damage is what important. So that's why I say this weapon is really worthy of at least in your secondary slot. Because when you're playing missions with, like Black Tusk or legendary missions, you got those Warhounds, the heavies, especially in legendary missions, those heavies are crazy, right? They have a lot of health. They got that stinger hive on their back and then they're just bleeding you. So you can actually take this weapon out, you stack them 5 times, and then you swap and you shoot. They will explode. But they're not going to die with one explosion, but it will do enough damage to break their armor. And then you can do this a couple more times like this, and then it will just, kill them. Or you can do one more thing. You can like shoot 1 time, swap your shoulder, shoot again. It will do an explosion damage, so that will stagger the NPC. So you can always just shoot like 1 shot, change, stagger, 1 shot, shoot, change, stagger if the NPC is annoying you. And that's what I do when I run skill builds. Yes, you can use this weapon in skill builds. You can, your skills, you don't have much weapon damage when you're running skill build, but you can use this as a secondary. And if the NPCs are like the heavy NPCs or anyone is a bit annoying you or destroying your skills and stuff, you can actually shoot this, because basically all the heavy guys going to go for your skill and your skills are taking damage, but you don't want your skill to take damage. So you can just shoot them like this, 1, 2 shots, and then swap shoulder and you explode them, and that will stagger them from shooting your skills, and then your skill will finish those NPCs out, right? So you can play it like that, be smart and do that, or you can just use in your DPS build and just stack them and swap shoulder and just explode them. This kills a purple dog in just 1 explosion. And for the gold dogs, like the elite dogs, you have to do like 2 times like this, swap shoulder. Just shoot 5 rounds, you swap shoulder, you shoot 1, and that will explode the purple dog, like literally just going to wipe it out. And for the elite, you have to do this twice, and then it will kill him. And basically, not only Black Tusk, any heavies who doesn't have armor, any faction heavies, you can actually use this weapon and melt through their armor pretty fast with just few rounds, swapping the shoulder, doing the explosion damage. You're just going to kill them really fast. That's why I feel this weapon is really good, really strong in terms of those. But yeah, if you still don't think that this weapon is worthy of your primary slot, then definitely use it on your secondary, because it's a must-have. That's all I can say. It's a must-have rifle. Doesn't matter if your build is, crit build for ARs or rifles or LMGs or whatever. You can have this weapon on your secondary and, swap whenever needed. And that's all I can say. This is a really strong weapon. It also really good for raid, the Morozova thing. When she sticky bombs, you can use this weapon to stagger her. You don't even have to do too much explosion. You can just shoot her once and swap shoulder, and that will explode, and that's enough to stagger her, Morozova. So you can actually use that. I use this on legendary also, and heroic is just too much fun. If you run it in a primary slot, it's really fun in heroic missions, and you just see NPC flying over. The only thing kind of bugs me about this weapon, when I stack, not stag. When I stack the NPCs, like I can see the red marking on them, but my group members can't see the red marking. That's kind of bad, but it's okay. I like to show off that I have Ravenous. Yeah. So that's the thing. But in terms of range and stuff, I would say the recoil of this weapon is really good. Like I can spam it and no problem. The only problem, of course, this weapon has a drawback, and that is, when your target is on range, you kind of have a little bit of problem when your target is on range. But the classic M1A, the further your target is, more accurate your weapon is, like your classic M1A, right? So if I put this on 20 meter right now, so you can see with classic M1A, I can easily hit headshots, no problem, right? I can easily hit a headshot with classic M1A. But with the Ravenous, the problem is I have two, you see the two dots, the crosshair dots, and that's kind of bugs me. Like, do I shoot from the right side or the left side? But it's actually not. You have to shoot from the center, you see? You have to shoot between those two dots. And that's a little bit of problem. But that can be solved if you're in cover and you aim. That dot is 1. But don't worry, you have no problem swapping shoulder. It still works. You know, I can still stack and then swap shoulder and it will explode. It works, no problem when you're in cover. But I don't know why when I'm like standing still, it has 2 dots. But basically because it has 2 barrels, maybe that's why it has 2 dots. But yeah, when you're in cover, it actually goes to 1. But when you fire your weapon, it does expand, but then comes back again to 1 dot. So that's all right. I mean, I usually stay in cover and shoots anyway, so that's fine, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's the only issue. Otherwise, aiming to the NPCs and, no problem. You do get a little bit of recoil when you're a little further. When your target is a little further, like 20 meters right now, you can see I'm having a little bit of recoil here, like left, right, but still manages to shoot it. But yeah, I mean, if your target is like 15, 10 meters, you're just going to beam it. There is no recoil, especially. Or you're going to basically do body shots, to be honest, with this weapon, and that's what it's meant for. Like, do the body shot, get the stacks as fast as possible, and then swap your shoulder, and then keep swapping shoulder and shoot like this. I basically do this, and if someone has a Ravenous in your group, you will see them do this weird animation of swapping shoulder, and it's kind of funny to actually see them when you actually see as a third person view, and you'll see them do that. It's funny. It's funny to watch the shoulder swap. But yeah, otherwise this weapon is really good. If you have a chance to get this weapon, I mean, it's a raid exclusive, of course. It's going to be hard to get it, of course. You know, I played 40 raid to get this weapon, like 41 actually. I don't even know how many raids I played. I gotta check it. I can actually check now. Progress, leaderboard. I can go to raid, Operation Iron House, and raid completion. There you go. And I can jump to me. Yeah, I played 40. Yep, I played 40 raid to actually get these. That also includes some of the boss runs, we were used to do. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a good weapon. Otherwise, you can use this weapon. If not in your primary, definitely secondary worthy. Skill builds or no skill builds, DPS build, doesn't matter. Give it a go if you have the chance. But if you don't have it, go play the raid. That's all I can say. That's the only way, only place you can get it. Hope you find better team or, players who have already got the Ravenous and generous enough to drop it for you. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, it's a raid exclusive. What can you do, right? But yeah, otherwise, if you get the weapon, it's a really good weapon. It's a beast, in my opinion. Try it out, and you're not going to have any disappointment while using this weapon, unless they decide to nerf it, which I don't think they will, because it's not that too OP. There are weapons that is better than this in terms of damage, but when it comes to the heavies and the dogs, like I said, this do shines and it just melt them. So yeah, I mean, if you have this weapon and you're not using it, then you're making it a mistake, and you should definitely run this weapon ASAP. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.